Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder, to probably the first of maybe a few videos about this tank. This is the Lvkv 90C, yet a Swedish tank, but this is the Luftvärnskanonwagen 90C, the SPA, at battle rating 9.7. And I have warned before the introduction of this tank that it shouldn't be introduced, if you remember my dev server preview video. And it was not specifically only about this tank, but also about its, I guess, brother at battle rating 10.0, the Strf 90C. Both are equipped with the 40mm ACAN M70B cannon, and, well, the problem with this thing is that it's firing APFSTS. How bad can it be? That bad. That was a T-72A from the front through the weak spot at 1.6 kilometers distance. And this is a kill compilation. And this tank is a complete lineup in itself. It just destroys tanks, it destroys aircraft, it destroys helicopters. It's very good when fighting around the objective and a cap circle. And it just doesn't take prisoners. It just can spew out the shells like you wouldn't believe. And again, if this sounds like the automatic, yeah, this is a mini automatic. Now, granted, the 40mm obviously doesn't have quite the same punch, and the mean alpha strike, especially versus aircraft, like the automatic, but it still does the job. So let's go through the statistics one by one and let's see what is what. So let's begin with the speed of the tank. It has a horsepower to ton ratio of just under 20, coming from a 550 horsepower strong engine for a 28.5 ton tank. That's not really that fast. A lot of main battle tanks are outright faster. 70 kilometers per hour top speed is nice to have in theory, but in practice you rarely accomplish it. But the reverse gear with 45 kilometers per hour is then therefore nice. Then let's talk about the armor, and yeah, it ranges from 20mm to 35mm, both of rolled homogeneous and cast homogeneous armor with some composite screen side skirts, etc. So it's not really that bad. Sometimes you survive some mean shots, sometimes you get hull broken. Again, it's unreliable. Then let's talk about the firepower. Again, a single 40mm gun with 234 rounds of ammunition. The reload is 0.2 seconds, so 5 shells a second, and that is not bad. That is not bad. Then we come to the gun handling. So we have 35 degrees per second turret traverse. Then we have 23 degrees of gun elevation. And on top of this, we also have obviously a stabilizer, 8 degrees of gun depression and 50 degrees of gun elevation. So that is pretty nice. It's not a pure SPA, but it's also not limited to only firing at tanks. And this then brings us to the ammunition. The stock shell is the SLPPRJ M90 APFSTS. That where there is no muzzle velocity given, but it has 143 millimeters of penetration, positive normalization. At 1000 meters it's still 130 millimeters of penetration, and at 2000 meters still 116 millimeters, which is definitely not bad. The stock HE shell is the SGR M90 high explosive shell, 174 grams of TNT, nearly 1000 meters per second muzzle velocity, 5 millimeters of penetration. Very good for direct hitting helicopters. And then that brings us to the KULSGR M90, the high explosive variable time fuse self-destroying, aka proximity fuse high explosive shell. 1015 meters per second muzzle velocity, 191 grams of TNT, so more than the stock HE shell, and 5 millimeters of penetration, but the trigger radius is 15 meters. So this is very good versus aircraft that are coming towards you, but versus helicopters, it leaves things to be desired. Very often you see a lot of, bursting flames, but you don't see any hits. And so versus helicopters, use the high explosive shell or even the APFSTS round. that is to be recommended. One further limitation is that you have only 24 rounds in the ready rack, and you can run through them really quickly, so in just like a few seconds of firing. And then it takes quite a while to reload the ready rack again. And therefore I would recommend you to then fight around a cap if there is sustained fighting to be expected. So this is absolutely fantastic. And when it comes then to naming why the AP-FSTS is so strong, well, all the main battle tanks share the weakness of the turret ring or the gun breach area, and Western MBTs have more the turret ring issue, whereas then the Soviet tanks have still the driver's hatch where you can shoot through. And as you can see, the advantage is the combination of AP-FSTS that goes clean through the side of the majority of tanks, and due to the pinpoint damage, pinpoint post-penetration damage, you have to do it with the high rate of fire rather than the pinpoint shot. This sounds weird, but sometimes a shell doesn't go through, it gets caught by the angling, etc. But you can mitigate the effect that a shell doesn't penetrate and doesn't do the appropriate hit, or doesn't fail to make the ammo rack go boom, or just injure the crew member instead of outright killing it. Now this is very important because that then allows you to spray through the side of a tank, hitting the gunner and the driver in such quick succession that the tank is truly disabled and you can just get in the finishing shot. Or you just can hit a certain plating so long till one of the shells penetrates, because of, it's quite at the edge of the ricocheting angle, etc. This thing is an absolute monster. It is also dirty cheap to run, under 4,000 civilians of repair cost, and this is why I put a talisman on it. And look at this, a Soviet main battle tank, here side shot, and then another one from the front, just through the driver's hatch. Double kill. It's insane, it's fun, it's awesome, and it is high tier balance the Gaijin way. This is the Swedish mini automatic. It's outrageously broken, but I love it. The enemies don't, so it's a complete lineup in itself, which is fantastic. And you have more or less the same tank again at higher battle rating, at 10.0, so you have actually two complete lineup tanks, if that makes sense. Whereas this then has the radar, which comes in handy. The other one doesn't have it, but it has an improved AP-FSTS. I say improved AP-FSTS because it has more raw penetration. So it was really fun, it was really cool, and again I put a talisman on this thing to grind through the Swedish tech tree, just to make sure that those helicopters die. And so finally you can use all the stuff that annoys you to your advantage. Are you not really that certain to make the one-shot kill hit with AP-FSTS? Here you have multiple tries per second. Are you annoyed by aircraft or helicopters? Just kill them anyway. Are multiple tanks coming at you and try to rush you? Well, teach them a lesson. So this thing is dirty cheap to run, and it just can kill everything if you have a little bit of experience, if you know how to handle high tier pressure, positioning, etc. It's not flawless, it's not the absolute SEAL Club monstrosity, but it is pretty close, and it just brings the salt to the enemy rather than to you. It's broken, it's hilarious, I warned from its introduction, I was laughed off, some people didn't take me serious, here we are, and well, since I'm done with ranting about, balance in War Thunder, because it's not there, yeah, enjoy this thing. It gets a clear approval from my side, and happy SEAL clubbing. So, having said this, that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this vehicle, the automatic, how to play with it, how to play against it, what are your secret tips and tricks, And also, please give this video a like if it did, subscribe if you want to see more, and as usual, we will see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.